Hello. So it's not normal for me just to have like a video where I don't have to explain like stuff that I screwed up, and this is no different. Um, this is day 3 of our Paris trip, June 2026, and this is the day that was the Louvre and Museum d'Orsay and things like that, and then the surrounding like areas and all. So the good thing is that I got some great video of like Place de Concorde and like walking down the Tuileries Gardens and like outside the Louvre with the pyramid and all. Fantastic. Like it's top rate stuff. It's really good. You're gonna love it. The biggest problem is I don't have any video from the inside of either museum. Can't tell you why. I never said I was a professional. So we do have photos, and I'll pop the photos in there to and maybe do a little like voiceover or something. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But this was actually the first day of our trip where it started getting nice outside. So like the walk outside where we went down to the Place de Concorde, it was super nice and gorgeous. The restaurant that we ate at, you'll see at the end, best restaurant the entire time that we ate in Paris. And we never had a bad meal. And this topped them all. This was fantastic. So, but stick around, take a look at this. Sorry about the no video inside the museums. But I'll throw the pictures in there. Hope you like it. See ya. All right, we're getting kind of lucky here because like the Louvre closed a while ago. So there's nobody in here. We have this to ourselves. How kick-ass is this? Here's the entrance to the Louvre. Huh? All right, you want to see something cool? All right, ready? And just so you know, this is the first time I've seen this too. There'll be more on that later. All right, so here's kind of a overlook. Right here, we're gonna go start down by the pyramid and work our way back that way. All right, so the Louvre's closed, but this is as close as I can get right now. There's the pyramid. It's freaking unbelievable. So this statue right here is Louis XIV. He's the Sun King. He's a very beloved king. Some more of the Louvre. Here's just an idea how huge this is. This is all Louvre. Still Louvre. Still Louvre. It's right there. And all here. All here. All the way there. It's right there. Gigantic. All right, so this is a quick tip that if you're going,
the main entrance is what we're looking at right here at the pyramid. Where I'm standing off to the right is like the entrance to the den and wing. And there's actually two like kind of side entrances. There's one where you go down and underneath and walk towards the pyramid. And then there's another one called the Port de Lions, where if it's open, you can kind of just like sneak and go straight up the stairs at the den and wing and go right down the hallway and be the first ones to see the Mona Lisa with like no wait. So definitely don't go to the main entrance because it's just way too busy. This is that hallway in the denim wing that leads to Mona Lisa. So this is basically what you're going to be looking at when you're going straight. Mona Lisa is in room 711. So this is the hallway to get to her. All right, here she is. What everybody considers kind of the star of the show at the Louvre. This is Mona Lisa. Obviously, it's Leonardo da Vinci's painting from the early 1500s. He painted when he was in Florence, and it was for a Italian fabric merchant, if I remember correctly. And so it was finished sometime in the early 1500s, and really it didn't gain like incredible appeal for like 400 years until 1911, when a an Italian employee at the Louvre actually stole it. He thought he was saving it, for Italy, and so that's when it really kind of became a really huge deal. We were able to walk right in and walk right up to this with little no wait because we got there first thing in the morning, and it was, it's just like anything else. People like to sleep in; they don't like to get up early, especially on vacation. France is no different. So get up early, go see the stuff, and you don't have to wait in line. Okay, while I agree that Mona Lisa is impressive to see, and Da Vinci is a master and everything like that, this right here, in my opinion, is the star of the show at the Louvre. This is the Winged Victory of Samothrace, and it's who this is this is the Greek goddess Nike, and she's standing on top of a ship bow after a naval battle. And what makes this so impressive is when you look at it, the marble actually is what they call a wet drapery, and what it does is it looks like it's actually flowing, and like it looks like thin and very fluid, and like it's actually blowing. Um, Super impressive, and absolutely incredible. And I think that this is just the absolute star of the show at the Louvre. Just a reminder to always look up. This is in the little circular room right behind Winged Victory. And it used to be kind of where the entrance was to go see the French crown jewels, but they were stolen 2025, and so they haven't been put back out on display. But anyway, just a quick reminder, make sure you look up because you see really cool shit. Okay, so this is my favorite painting in the Louvre, and this is the coronation of Napoleon. So he was made king in 1804, and why I think this is cool is because of like the stories that you can hear about this and that you can actually see in the painting itself. The first thing is that Napoleon took the crown from the Pope, who's sitting down behind him, and he actually put the crown on his head instead of letting the Pope do it. And he said for a couple reasons. Number one, that he himself is the one that got himself to this position, along with the French people, not the church. So he crowned himself and then took the other crown and then crowned his wife Josephine and made her the first empress of France. So the other thing is that if you look at the picture off to like kind of the top left a little bit to where Napoleon is, that's supposedly his mom, but she didn't come. So like he wanted her in there, so he had the artist put it in there. And then also you can see like there was a screw up with the painting, and you can still kind of see a shadow of where he had Napoleon standing before he moved him forward to be crowning Josephine. So just some cool stuff. This is painted by a guy named Jacques Louis David, and he finished this like apparently sometime like in between 1805 and 1808. And this painting is huge. It is like 30 feet wide by like 20 feet tall, and he painted all this in a pretty short amount of time. Very cool painting. All right, this next one is Liberty Leading the People. Uh, Super famous painting, especially in France. This is depicting the French Revolution, painted in 1830 by Delacroix. And why this was so important of a work is that basically the class of the fighters. So you see the guy with the top hat over to the left, kind of an affluent man, and then you have the student um, like right in front of Liberty, and then you have the younger boy with the pistols, who's like supposed to be kind of like an urban worker. So this was Liberty, who's the gal with the tricolor French flag, leading like all these people in the revolution. All right, so this here is Psyche revived by Cupid's kiss, um, and it was it's marble carved by Antonio Canova in 1790 ish, and basically this has like a big long story to it, and it's a really cool story. You should really look into it. Basically, Venus is like mad about how beautiful Psyche is, and so she tells her son Cupid to go make her fall in love with a monster, and instead Cupid falls in love with her. Long story short, he ends up having to kiss her to revive her. So that's kind of the whole story behind it, but very cool. But like kind of the cool thing about this is kind of the technique with the textures, with like the rock being rough and like the wings being feathery and his hair being like wispy, and like you can even see kind of like the draping of the cloth, how it kind of looks different than the skin. So it's all about basically textures on this one, but absolutely unbelievable. Okay, everybody knows who this is. This is Venus de Milo, and basically it's Aphrodite, and she's missing her arms, and she's actually like almost 7 feet tall. So it was found like in the 1800s by just some peasant on the island of Milos, and they assume it was created somewhere around 100 to 150 BC. So again, just a gorgeous and unbelievable. All right, here's the Great Sphinx of Tanis. It's about 4,000 years old. It's made of like a pink granite. Um, so this thing weighs like 10 tons, and it was excavated in the early 1800s um, at some ruins, the Temple of Amun-Ra in Tanis, Egypt. So this thing's gigantic, just absolutely enormous. All right, so most everybody knows that the Louvre Museum was originally a palace, but before that, it was actually a fortress. And here's like the original fortress walls from the 12th century. Um, it was a medieval fortress built by Philip II Augustus, and you can actually go down there and you can see on each like stone like the marking from like the actual stonemason that had made them. It's very 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 cool. All right, so here we have the Code of Hammurabi, and this is from 1750 BC. And why this is significant is because it's like one of the oldest, but like best preserved and most complete, like written legal codes in human history. Um, there's like almost 300 different laws covering things from like daily life, trade. It's also like property, family relations, criminal stuff, but also is kind of popularized eye for an eye, like retaliation. So, but this is super cool, and it's like almost I think it's like almost 8 feet tall, if I remember correctly. Very, very cool. These are the Lamassu winged bull guardians they're from like 700 BC, and they were actually excavated in like modern day like Iraq. I forgot the city. But what's cool about these is like if you look at them from the front, looks like they're standing at attention guarding. And then you look at them from the side, they got like a fifth leg, so it looks like they're walking. But very, very, very cool, very large. So this was just one of the courtyards with a bunch of statues, really neat statues. But so that pretty much concluded our trip to the Louvre. Like I said, we kind of like had certain things we wanted to see and get in and get out. One thing that we didn't get to see were the Napoleon III apartments, which were closed for whatever reason during our visit. But we really wanted to see that. But other than that, we got to see pretty much everything we wanted to see. So right past the traffic circle, the carousel traffic circle, by the Louvre here, is the Arc de Triomphe. It's not obviously not the big Arc de Triomphe, but it's the Arc de Triomphe de Carousel. That I believe the story is that Napoleon had this made to celebrate all his great victories and his generals or something. It's very cool. Alright, here's a little closer view of the Arc de Triomphe de Carousel. Oh yeah, they got carnival rides. It's the back side, or could be the front side. I don't know. The other side. Let's go with that. So these right here are the Tuileries Gardens. Ooh. One of the things I was excited to see in Paris was this is Pont Neuf, which translates to New Bridge, which is ironic because it's the oldest standing bridge in Paris, and it was, I want to say it was like 1600, like built in 1600. What was unique about it is like most bridges back then had like buildings and houses on both sides. Like you couldn't see, it was like walking through like a city street, you couldn't see the river. So Pont Neuf, like it was the first one that had like sidewalks and everything like that. All the old bridges are gone. This is the oldest one, and it's the new bridge. But anyway, while we were there, you can see it had this art installation on it from some artist. I'm not even going to look up what his name was because like I don't like it. I hate it. I think it looks stupid. And also it kind of like really screwed up kind of the traffic pattern of like getting over to the Ile de la City, which is where the Pont Neuf is. Like you can see right there the very tippy top of like Saint Chapelle, and like over to the left is where like you would see Notre Dame. So anyway, this is the Pont Neuf, the art installation while we were there, but I hated it and everything about it and everything it stood for. And this is from across the river by the Louvre, facing the this is the Museum d'Orsay, which is where we're heading next. All right, so here is the inside of the Musée d'Orsay, and this is actually the world's largest collection of impressionist artists and post-impressionists, I believe, too, in the world. So basically, it's like mostly artists between like mid 1800s to early 1900s. And if you're looking at this and think, man, this kind of looks kind of strange, this used to be a train station, which you can probably see it now. And it was built for the World's Fair in 1900, and then it was converted to a museum in I want to say 1980s, if I remember correctly. Very cool. It has a lot of works from like Claude Monet, Vincent van Gogh, Renoir, Edward Manet, um, Degas. So I didn't get as nearly as many pictures in here, but I'll show you what I got. All right, marble statue made in 1872 by Henri Chapeau or Chapeau. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is, believe it or not, Joan of Arc, and he chose to show her as a young shepherdess girl instead of clad in armor and everything like that. And I love this. I think that's very, very cool. Okay, while the large Rodin the Thinker statue is actually in Paris at the Rodin Museum, he made smaller ones. Like this one's like 28 inches. Uh, he did these like in the 1880s. And this was actually supposed to go atop, and you can see it in the background, the gates of hell, where he'd be sitting on top of it, looking down on the people like sinning and going to hell and thinking about it. But this is one of Rodin's tiny statues. All right, let me apologize in advance because I'm going to get long winded because I love this painting. This is Starry Night over the Rhone, and it is Vincent van Gogh. And this is like kind of the older brother of my favorite painting of all time, which is just Starry Night, which he painted a year later in 1889, which is actually housed, being shown at the MoMA Museum up in New York. But this one is one that he painted from his home. And later that year, he had a roommate move in by the name of Paul Gauguin, who is another very famous painter of the time. And because of their artistic differences, they had argument, and Van Gogh kind of lost his bearings, lost his mind a little bit. Uh, Leads to him basically cutting off his ear, and he ended up checking himself into an asylum. And a year later, he painted Starry Night, which is the more chaotic one with the swirls in the sky and everything like that. Um, I find it so interesting how the paintings kind of evolve along with his mental stability or instability, I guess. But so this is the younger brother. I'm sorry, the older brother. But I do prefer the crazy one in New York. All right, this is clearly Claude Monet and one of his water lily paintings. Um, Not much needs to be said. They're super famous, and we actually went to Claude Monet's Giverny, his home and his gardens, which would be a video. I believe it's the next day after this, if I remember right. So, but absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking. All right, I just thought this was neat. This is just a shot from the left bank on the roof of the Orsay Museum d'Orsay, looking across the Tuileries Gardens over to the Louvre, which you can see the large Ferris wheel, and then that big silver ball in the middle is the Olympic sphere, which they light up still. But I just thought it was neat. All right, so this is the last painting I wanted to put in from Museum d'Orsay. This is Manet, not Monet. It's Edouard Manet, and this is from 1880, and it's painting the Escape of Rochefort. There's a second version of this, but this is the one that's in Paris. All right, so that does it for Musée d'Orsay. I just like included these, like some of these with all these statues and because I thought they were kind of cool looking. But that was our visit to the Museum d'Orsay.
So this right here is a statue of Joan of Arc. And I love the statue mainly because I see it every year for the last like 30 years watching the Tour de France, because they would come racing up and they'd show this on the broadcast. We're going to go over there. Patty's jealous of Joan of Arc.
That's my patron saint. No, I'm not.
So I'll show you here just a second. So every year the bikers come right through this tunnel right here, and they come and they go right by our Joan d'Arc.
So at night it's going to go up.
Oh, it does. There's the Olympic sphere. So here's the Seine, and there, look at this boat of people. That is loaded. So there's the Musée d'Orsay right there, right across the river. This is the Tuileries Gardens. We're just kind of strolling down. I want to go down to the Place de la Concorde. So there's some more shots there. You can see the statues next to the Olympic sphere. Look at this, if you walk down the middle of this. Hold on. Gotta get away from the TikTokers. It's insane. Look at this. How cool is this?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're taking, the Vendesse de Pont Neuf? But for the late cruise? It's the sun.
That's so weird that those steps down there.
Yep.
Oh my God, there's a car on that boat.
You know what it is? It's one of those aqua cars that we rode at Disney.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. That is definitely what that is. You see the propeller?
That would be genius.
That's
There's got to
awesome.
be a lift of some sort.
So we're Place de Concorde, and unfortunately they have a bunch of things like you can't get very close to the fountains. There's the Egyptian obelisk, the Luxor. I believe it's called the Luxor obelisk. Obelisk? You know what I'm trying to say. It's Place de Concorde. It used to be called, I think it used to be called Place de Victories, until they changed it to Concorde. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. You guys can fact check me and bring me in the comments. At least the one fountain's going. We'll go check that out. That's the Fountain de Fleuves. It's like rivers. So this is the Fountain de Mers.
right here, which it's not going, but that's all right. It's beautiful. Okay, thanks to my years of watching Tour de France and Mr. Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwin, now Bob Roll. This is the Luxor obelisk, and it was a gift, and it's the oldest monument, believe it or not, oldest monument in Paris, 3,000 years old. It was like at some palace, I think the Ramses II, if I remember correctly, and then they gifted it to Paris. Look at that. Redneck with an education.
That is a prettier version.
Yeah. Van de Fleuves. Fleuves. Fleuves? I don't know. Something like that. It's rivers. Here's a better look. So a security guard up there actually engaged us and said bonjour and asked them what all the construction was around here. And because it can't be the Tour de France. The Tour de France doesn't come through here until like the end of July. So this is for, I believe it's Bastille Day is what he was saying, July 12th. Independence Day maybe. So that's a big party going on down here, I guess. Also, Place de la Concorde. It's where, I think I mentioned it, Marie Antoinette lost her head. Right here. And many, many more people. So we need to go find our dinner. So this is a bistro. One of the most highest rated bistros. Do you know? It only seats 30 people. And it's Le Jardin Saint-Germain. And like, so here, you can actually ask for an English menu. And we got a couple of, what are these? Spritzes? Spritz Saint-Germain. Oh, this place is really, really, really cool. Check out the beans. So I got the confit de canard, green salad with it, fries. All these potatoes are delicious, by the way. But I got a Chateaubriand, and I don't know what this is, but I love it. I'm like dipping my fries, or her fries in it, so I'm stealing her sauce and her fries. Absolutely loved this meal. Favorite meal so far in Paris. And we still have dessert coming. This was fantastic. The Jardin Saint-Germain. Alright, so here's just a pain perdue. And of course a creme brulee. This is almost like a French toast.
My daughter was in
I can't wait. It's got caramel sauce.
She went to
So this is absolute not bullshit. This is the best place we've eaten yet. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we.
Au revoir.
Is it?
It was so good.
I know, this is fantastic.
All right. So it's Le Jardin Saint-Germain. Oops. Le Jardin Saint-Germain. And it was absolutely fantastic. The service was amazing. The food was amazing. The chef came out and sat and had a conversation with, I mean, just fantastic from start to end. So we just got back from dinner, and sure enough, au revoir, Mr. and Mrs. Dean. And they come up and they cleaned the room and made the bed, and it's actually dropped to a really very nice temperature out. So Here's our balcony view. There's actually a nightclub downstairs that, I don't know, we might check out one of these evenings. I love it here. It's great.